You LeBron defenders are all the same. But this one's like extra embarrassing. Because you have all these subscribers, yet you're bringing up a topic from 12 years ago and lying most of the video?
You ain't got to lie, Craig. You ain't got to lie.
Seriously though, man. I'll never understand you guys.
This whole world is bugged.
In 2013, LeBron James had nearly the greatest single season in NBA history. But what happened instead was arguably the biggest robbery in NBA history. King James finished second in defensive playing voting in 2009, he was fourth in 2010, and fourth again in 2012. 2013 was supposed to be his year, but instead, the award went to Marc Gasol. So, was LeBron really that good defensively, or is he just salty because he didn't achieve this feat and Michael Jordan did? Because if we look at the defensive stats, Gasol has the edge over LeBron in every category. Gasol has the edge over LeBron in every category. In defensive plus-minus, a statistic that measures points allowed when a player is on the court, Gasol was first in the NBA at 3.1, while LeBron was fifth at 2.4. In defensive win shares, which is calculated by the number of points allowed per 100 defensive possessions, Gasol was second in the NBA with 5.4, and LeBron was 10th with 4.7. Individual defensive rating also favored the Spaniard, who had a 98.5 defensive rating, a sixth best mark in the league, while LeBron's defensive rating was 101, the 49th best result. Team defensive rating tells the same thing. The Grizzlies had the second best defense in the NBA with 100.3 points conceded at 100 possessions, while the Heat was ninth with 103.7 points per 100 possessions. LeBron averaged 1.7 steals and 0.9 blocks per game, or 2.6 blocks and steals combined, while Gasol averaged 1 steal and 1.7 blocks, again, a higher number than James.
So you have no proof?
So, if all the stats lean towards Gasol, why is LeBron so pissed that he didn't get the award?
Because, Charlie, she's a nitwit.
Well, there are multiple reasons why it was James and not Gasol who should have won it. The first reason is that Defensive Player of the Year is more of a team award rather than an individual one. In 2013, Gasol played with Mike Conley and Tony Allen in the backcourt, who were one of the best, if not the best, perimeter defenders in the NBA at the time. Both Conley and Allen made all defensive teams that year, and Tony was fifth in voting for Defensive Player of the Year.
Kobe, toughest defender for you?
Tony Allen. That's easy. Tony Allen.
Mark also had Rudy Gay, Tayshaun Prince, and Zach Randolph, who were all excellent defenders. And with teammates like that, it's much easier to play great defense.
Come on now, you expect me to believe that?
I believe we all can agree that Zebo and Rudy Gay are not known for their defense at all. Although defense is quite immeasurable and it's more of an eye test, yeah, right. But statistically, Zebo and Rudy Gay, for their entire careers, both have a negative defensive box plus minus. Negative. Neither of them ever went to a defensive team their entire careers. What you said earlier, I can't let that slide. DPOY is definitely an individual award. Some team success does help you for certain metrics in advanced stats, but it's only a couple, so cut it out.
Defensively, Coach Spo was the first coach to use aggressive trapping and switching on defense, realizing that LeBron can switch to anybody and guard all 5 positions. LeBron's versatility was the thing that allowed Spoelstra to play only one big man when all other teams played 2.
I can't tell for sure, but I believe he means all time, not just that season. And if he does mean all time, I would definitely have to mention a man like Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman is probably the most versatile defender in my opinion. As far as effectively. One day he's guarding Magic, then Michael Jordan, then Larry Bird, then Karl Malone, Barkley, Kareem, Hakeem, Shaq. Just listen to those names. But, you know, we done with the 80s and 90s though.
and have great defensive stats. For example, if Kevin Hart played alongside 4 NBA players versus LeBron and 4 5-foot actors, guess what? Kevin Hart would have better defensive stats than LeBron. We're not saying that LeBron didn't have quality teammates and that he played with a bunch of Kevin Harts, but Gasol certainly had more help than James.
I disagree. Gary.
I'm going to have to disagree with you on that, but it's just an opinion. I believe I can prove my opinion more than you can prove yours. First off, you said Zebo and Rudy Gay. Kind of makes you lose the argument off top, but first off, you have D Wade. He peaked at 3rd in DPOY, and overall, he's like top 20. And then you got a guy like Birdman, who peaked at 9th in DPOY, although older, like Tayshaun Prince. Shane Battier had the best peak out of all of these guys. Top 15 in DPOY, 5 years straight. 3 years straight in the top 5. And that Kevin Hart analogy was horrendous.
The second biggest reason why LeBron was snubbed is that the Defensive Player of the Year has historically been a big man award. Between 1997 and 2013, Ron Artest was the only non-big to win the award, and that's what prevailed this time as well. Back in 2013, most of the NBA was still playing with 2 traditional big men, and post defense against other centers was what the voters valued the most.
Yes, DPOY is typically, majority-wise, a big man award. It wasn't always that way. The first DPOY was given out in 1982, given to a shooting guard, Sidney Moncrief. Who won the next year? Sidney Moncrief. And then the first center won, Mark Eaton. He got 5.5 blocks a game. Jesus. R.I.P. And then Alvin Robertson, a guard. Then Michael Cooper, a guard. Then Michael Jordan, a guard. And then Dennis Rodman goes back to back. So basically, outside of Mark Eaton winning twice, he was the only center in the first decade to win DPOY. I don't understand, bro. Why couldn't you say that? I understand you don't want your video to be too long or too boring, but he literally will apply context and examples of Shaq missing unanimous MVP by 1 vote. So why provide the context there, but not for any of this DPOY stuff? Well, most of the DPOY stuff. I'll tell you why. Because you don't really have a legitimate argument or case.
Look at this. Somebody come look at this. Look at this. Somebody come and look at this. Look at this.
This is 1986 to 1987. I could bring up more examples, but it would definitely be very boring. Now remember, this man is claiming it's just a big man award. And also a team award? So let's see. Michael Cooper versus Alvin Robertson. Jesus. Alvin Robertson, 3 steals to Cooper's 1. Similar blocks. Defensive win shares goes to Robertson. Defensive box plus minus. Robertson triples him. Defensive rating, Robertson has a better defensive rating. Lower means better. So that is 4 stats, 3 advanced, 1 regular, where Cooper loses. Yet, Cooper won the award. Also, they are both guards.
However, the third reason, and the most ridiculous thing, was the voting itself, because Marc Gasol won the Defensive Player of the Year, and he didn't make first-team All-Defense. The same thing happened in 2012, when Tyson Chandler won Defensive Player of the Year, and only made the second All-Defensive team. So, we can all agree that the voting was kinda messed up in those years.
You mean to tell me this dude couldn't spend 10 seconds to name drop Robertson and Mutombo doing the exact same thing, winning DPOY on the second team? Do you see the fake context? If you're going to mention Tyson Chandler, why would you say oh, well, it was pretty messed up in those years. No, it's been messed up since the dawn of time.
Why did LeBron feel that he was robbed? And what was his case for winning the Defensive Player of the Year? The answer to that is very simple. In 2013, LeBron played the most versatile defense the NBA has ever seen.
No, he didn't.
But then he'd also shut down the other team's best players in the clutch.
No, he did not.
He was jumping into passing lanes to steal and prevent passes.
James with the steal, and LeBron puts it down.
And let's not forget about his trademark chase down blocks in transition.
Turnover for Miami. Collison, but a basket blocked from behind by James.
Throughout NBA history, nobody could guard 1 through 5 as successfully as LeBron did in 2013. Pippen was a versatile defender, but he was only 220 pounds and couldn't guard centers. Rodman could guard centers, but he never switched onto point guards like LeBron. Rodman could guard centers, but he never switched onto point guards like LeBron. Nobody did more different things defensively than LeBron, and that's why he deserved to win the award.
But he's a battler. Chuck Daly says everyone should play the game as hard as Rodman. Every day, practice the same as game. He can guard any position. He can guard any position.
Flurry. Look at the eyes of Dennis Rodman playing against Magic Johnson.
Rodman could guard centers, but he never switched onto point guards.
Detroit, and then the Pistons won the remaining 3. Here we have Rodman on Michael Jordan. He says the toughest thing for me is not to let him
help out as much with traps. That's the problem.
Houston. Now Rodman's guarding Drexler, so
Nobody did more different things defensively than LeBron.
Or Roberts, Ainge, and Paxson. Bird breaks the pressure himself.
Edwards guarding it. 9 on the shot clock. Jordan has
early in the ball game. Shaq handles a tough this way. Look at Rodman throw Shaquille around down there. Now he wants the ball. Goal. 1:40 left. Rodman. O'Neal. They let him play that.
Thompson to Kareem. Blocked by Rodman. Block again by Rodman, and Scott takes it out. But Dennis Rodman stopped 2 great baskets inside. Watch this play. Dennis Rodman will come from nowhere to block Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's shot. I think he surprises him with the first one. You know, you look at Jabbar, 7'3", Rodman maybe around 6'7".
Let's not forget about his trademark chase down blocks in transition.
And the Celtics with Ainge pushing it up, goes the distance, blocked by Rodman.
Here comes Michael Jordan with Pippen.
Oh!
Look at the block by Rodman. No foul call.
Looking to loft one into Patrick Ewing. Ewing over and rejected by Dennis Rodman. What an enormous block. And Rodman comes up.
Nobody did more different things defensively than LeBron.
Davis pulls it off. Rodman's tap that didn't go is rebound number 34 and is the all-time Pistons single-game rebounder. He has just broken Bob Lanier's record. The sign on the board says Dennis Rodman has just set a new Piston record for rebounds in a single game. Worm looked up and read it, and the emotional guy that he is, it brought tears to his eyes. You got to be happy for the hardest working player in the NBA, Dennis Rodman.
Or Magic, what do you expect from LeBron tonight?
I want to see him, Stewart, have some fun. Get into his defense, because the key is, can he stop Jason Terry?
Fuck you, and fuck you. Who's next?